What's up, noobs? After creating myself and my husband in Dragon's Dogma 2, I realized that after all my playthroughs for Baldur's Gate 3, I'd still not made a version of us. So I did. First of all, I had a few restrictions when I started. 1. I wanted to play a short character because I hadn't done that yet, and I am quite short, so it fits me. And 2. I wanted to try a new class, which is where the problems started. But that's for later. I wanted to make a character that was as much me as possible, which honestly is quite boring. Brown hair, brown eyes, no tattoos, no piercings. The Baldur's Gate character creation has so much cool customization, it's hard not to add badass stuff like tattoos, scales, colored horns, heterochromia, but I had already done all that, so I stuck to good old little me. The first thing I did was go through the short races and see which one had a face that is the most similar to mine. Now, having been spoiled with Dragon's Dogma 2, I found it hard to settle on any face. It's kind of cool that every race has their own set of faces, but it's also annoying because I think this half-elf face is the closest to my face, but I wanted to stick to the shorter races and found one that was okay from the halflings, which also fits my personality. Small yet capable, halflings prefer the comforts of home and hearth, but their natural luck and dexterity makes them fine adventurers. I'm a homebody, but I also love traveling, so this is spot on. The only thing that really annoys me about halflings is why are their heads so freaking huge? I mean, it's not even regular sized, it's bigger than humans and elves' heads. How am I supposed to feel cute when I'm romancing other characters? Couldn't they just have made it a little bit smaller, like this at least? I mean, look at that difference, and how ridiculously huge it is. I don't know, I just think it looks way more caricatured and unrealistic than all the other races. Yes, even the dragon, or the half-orc. After adding my average hair and other features, I moved on to class. The two options that really stood out to me as the most me was Bard and Sorcerer, but I had already played both. So I made the mistake of going for Druid, because I do like nature and animals, but maybe not as much as a Druid. And after having played a while, I realized that I didn't resonate with any of the dialogue options for Druid, which just means it's the wrong class for me, and I changed it to Bard. I can play some instruments, have performed on stage, I love being creative, and have probably tried a little bit of everything, making me a jack of all trades. Also, my vicious mockery is not to be underestimated. I naturally went for the School of Beauty, as I'm all about the pretty arts and good stories, and I chose the flute as my instrument. I've always loved the sound of the pan flute, played a little flute in school, and I know I'll get my hands on some lutes later anyway. For the background, I first considered urchin, not because I was so poor, but I grew up with a bit less than those around me, and I know how to make the most of it, but sleight of hand and stealth isn't really my expertise, and found that actually guild artisan was closer to me. Even though I'm not particularly handy, with all my different creative skills like sewing and painting, I consider myself quite crafty. Also, proficiency and insight is more like me, but I'm not so sure about persuasion. I am quite stubborn though. Does that go under persuasion? And then tweaking the skills a little bit, adding my name, and I'm ready to go. To make my husband. It's funny how I always make my husband a fighter. I can't choose here anyway. But thinking realistically, he would definitely be a bard. Even more than me. He might not be a jack of all trades, but I've never met anyone with higher charisma and persuasion stats than him. Also, he sings all the time. So we're basically just a married bard couple. Wow, that's a bit much, isn't it? Anyway, I think his character looks a bit more similar than mine, but let's compare them with the Dragon's Dogma characters. What do you think? Which is better? I love the extensive customization in Dragon's Dogma 2 and how you can make features more accurate, but I think Baldur's Gate 3 has more options for fun stuff, like piercings, hairstyles, races, and fun colors. So even though this isn't the best character creation for making yourself, it's a great and fun tool for making super beautiful, badass, and awesome characters. It's also kind of fun that you have to take your personality into consideration as well when you're choosing class and race, which can really get you into the role playing. But which character creation do you prefer? That's it. Vanoobie out.